I just found out my husband, who I have 3 children with, was living a completely separate life this entire time, and his mother knew the secret. Guys, I have a wild ride for you today. This story is bonkers. My name's Mr. Edito, and I present daily stories. If you're new to the channel, smash that subscribe button, and let's jump right into it. My husband and I had a very fast courtship and engagement. We met and married within 11 months and have been married for 4 years in March. My husband has a job that requires him to travel a lot. Without giving too much information, he's a VP of sales for a company that produces something that's in every house and building in America. So he's constantly working and on the road about 50% of the time. I entered our marriage knowing this and have never had an issue. Well, I learned about 7 months after our wedding that he actually has been engaged to someone else. Let's call her Amanda, at the time we met. He claimed he was worried about hurting her, as they have been together since high school. However, what hurt me the most is that he did not call off their engagement until he proposed to me. We've worked through that issue thanks to therapy, and we continue to still go to therapy. Early last week, I discovered I was pregnant with our 3rd child. He was out of town, so I thought it would be fun to surprise him with the news at his hotel. So, I planned on getting a cake with, quote, "You're going to be a father again," and I delivered it to his hotel. I called the hotel asking how I could go about this, and was told they didn't have him staying at the hotel. I assume I messed up where he was staying, but I know his company would only put him in that hotel chain. I've admittedly overlooked some red flags and realized something was going on. I know he's dumb enough to keep all his passwords the same, and I know our passwords for Netflix, etc., and I logged into his Facebook and Instagram to snoop on him. While snooping, I found DMs with Amanda that were super flirty, and she's been tagging him in stories. I called him up and asked if there was anything he wanted to tell me. He said absolutely not. And I said, "Are you sure? Because I know you're not staying at the hotel, because I was trying to surprise you with something." After now being together, I can pick up on some of his lying tells. And when he tried to tell me he was somewhere else, I called him out on it, and he said he would be home that night and we could talk. I assumed he was coming home to tell me that he and Amanda were seeing each other, but instead, he told me that he's been having an affair with a woman we'll call Sarah, and Sarah and him have 2 kids together. He was with her and has not been going to many work trips since COVID started. The kicker is, he started seeing Sarah while still engaged to Amanda, and his kids with her are 6 years old, and one will be 4. Yep, a week before our 4th anniversary. He and Sarah both claim that they haven't had sexual relations since their youngest was conceived. He was seeing both Sarah, Amanda, and I at once in the beginning of our relationship. I asked him about his direct messages with Amanda, and he said that they reconnected at his 15-year school reunion, which I did not go to because I just gave birth 2 nights before. Last year, it had been hanging out with old school friends. I'm absolutely devastated and confused. I gave birth to our first son January of 2020, our second son June 2021, and like I said, I'm currently pregnant with our 3rd. The betrayal goes further with the fact that his mother has been helping him hide this secret from everyone. She has been the best grandma to my boys and is very active in their life, and helps me with cleaning our home and giving me time to do things away from the kids. She knew every time he was going to see Sarah and their kids and never once told me. I'm coming to the realization that everyone in my world revolves around him. I can't even begin to talk to my friends about this because all of my friends are his friends' wives. I feel like I am this big joke to his friends and family, and I'm not sure how to change that. I don't have a job because I quit it to be able to travel with him and get engaged. I feel like I'm stuck and I don't know how to get out of it. Has anyone left a marriage not knowing where to go or how to survive? Hey guys, Mr. Reddito here. So this story does have a complete update, which I'm about to hop in, but first, pause this video and post your comment down below. What do you think OP's going to do? Is OP going to stand up for herself and walk away from this toxic situation? Or is she going to try to cope with it? Drop your comments down below and here comes the update. Well, I am officially a single woman as of today. I want to thank everyone who commented and those who reached out with their ideas, and those who have been in the same situation as I was. I took photos of all the infidelity and lies. One of his friends got my good divorce lawyer, and my ex knew he was ducked from the start, so it was speedy. And he gave me half of everything and is paying far more than I expected for child support. And is granting me spousal support for a while. I reached out to a few of the wives when I found things out, and shockingly, his friend group picked me and not him. That was the most surprising thing out of this. These are friends he's had for 20 plus years. They opened up a lot of his behavior, and a few of the wives actually were getting ready to tell me about his flirty encounters with Amanda. But as a mom with 2 kids under 2, they were concerned with my mental health, and were going to tell me at the end of the month, at a mom's getaway we were having. I did not have a job when I left, but one of his friend's wives owns a marketing company, which is what my job was before we got married, and told me when I was ready she'd have a job waiting for me. I started that job back in April and have actually been liking it. I'm still pregnant. That was a decision I made on my own. I love being a mom, and my boys are my whole world. I was going back and forth on it, but I truly love our children. It was not an easy decision to come to, but I'll figure it out one day at a time like I have for the last 6 months. The good thing that came out of this is that it actually had me call my parents. My parents and I never had the best relationship. I left home at 18 and moved halfway across the country. Where I live now is only a 4-hour drive from my parents, and I've seen them once outside my wedding since I moved here. My mom dropped her whole life when I called her. She doesn't have the healthiest life when she's alone, so about 8 weeks after my first post, I asked if she wanted to move here and help me take care of the children. Under specific circumstances, of course. Well, she agreed and has been doing so much better, and our relationship's starting to slowly grow, and to become a healthy one. Thankfully, our kids are young and the boys are 2 and 1, so they only really know mom and dad weren't together. He's a wonderful dad. I've tried my hardest to be the bigger person and have even had Sarah and her kids over, so he can have all his kids together. He's a great dad and the kids like him. I had a few people reach out to me who have half-siblings from affairs, and they gave me great insight. I'll do my best to keep my kids around Sarah's kids. I'm still in therapy and do not ever plan on giving that up. Man, this was a toxic story. I think the worst part about it, though, wasn't necessarily the husband's cheating, vile ways. Don't get me started, he's a bad person. But what in the world is up with his mother? Helping him hide this secret? And always going to see the other families, Sarah, her children, and not telling anyone this was happening. I could not believe this story. Let me know in the comment section down below what you think of this and the update. I would love to hear your opinion on this story. We do have one more story left in today's video, and it comes complete with an update. Am I the a-hole for telling my sister she's stupid and ruining our dad's life? Okay guys, don't forget to smash the like button, and also, if you don't know, I have a separate channel which makes 2 channels. This one you're on now, and Mr. Reddito's Stories. I upload daily on both, so if you like the content and you want more of these stories, make sure you subscribe to Mr. Reddito's Stories. You can find that link in the description below. Okay, let's get right into the final story of the day. I'm 23 male, have 2 younger siblings. Anna, who's 21, and Chloe, who's 19. We've always been close. Our parents split up when I was 9, and our mom became pretty much a deadbeat. I've seen her maybe 5 times in the last 10 years. So my dad, who's 50, raised us, and it's pretty much always been us and him. Even after he started dating Fiona, who's 44, when I was 15. Our dynamic started mostly the same, and there were pretty much no issues, aside from some adjusting. Chloe recently moved out after living at home for her first year of college. And a few months later, my dad announced that he and Fiona were engaged and going to get married. In my opinion, everyone expected this would happen since they were together for a long time. But Anna was very upset. She's been complaining to everyone about it for weeks, but mostly me. She says it's like he was just waiting for us all to grow up and get out of his house so he can move his new woman and be a family with her instead. She also doesn't like that there's almost a 7-year age gap between them, because he and our mom were high school sweethearts, and our mom was actually a few months older, so she feels like our dad's replacing her with a younger model. Side note, she's never liked Fiona because, well, she was still hoping my parents would get back together when he and Fiona started dating. By the way, Mom was less of a deadbeat then. Anna also thinks there isn't much passion between them, because every time she was over at the place, they barely touched and just treated each other like polite acquaintances, since we were kids. She also doesn't see why he has to move her in before they even get married, because Fiona's financially well off and does not need the stability. She wants to be able to spend this summer with just our dad and us, without anyone else moving in yet. She told me the other day that she's planning on trying to set him up with one of her friend's single mom instead, who she feels is much more age-appropriate and likable, much more than Fiona, and whom she thinks he'd have more chemistry with. She's planning on telling him this weekend and wants me to back her up. I just lost my patience and told her to leave me out of this, and that she's ruining his life by trying to set him up on some blind date as if he's a child. Well, she started crying and told me all she wants is what's best for him, because Fiona is the wrong woman and he's making a mistake. But I said I don't see how this would help when he's already engaged, and that she's just being stupid. Well, she called me an a-hole for being so harsh and hasn't talked to me since then. I admit, part of me is also bummed that we won't have as much of my dad's time anymore, and things are about to change dramatically. So I wonder if I should even be more validating or supportive of Anna. But I just don't think our dad did anything wrong, or that talking him out of this will do any good. Am I the a-hole for this? Okay guys, Mr. Reddito here. So, let me know in the comment section down below, what do you think OP is going to do about this? Is OP going to side with Anna, or completely rebel against her decision? There's an update for this story, so let's jump in it right now. Thanks to everyone who shared all the advice. A lot's gone down, so I thought I should update. I tried talking to Anna once more about not doing this blind date thing, but she refused. So, as folks suggested, I went and told my dad I had to warn him about something. Here's where I maybe messed up a bit. Fiona was there and maybe I should have said it privately, but there was no time. He asked what was wrong and I just could not get the words out, so I said it's about the engagement. And it was what's best we heard it from Anna. Well, of course, he went to our room to get her. We all sat in the living room. Chloe was already watching TV there. And after some coaxing from him, she just exploded and started crying it wasn't fair. Things were happening just too fast. He decided to get engaged without even consulting us, and we were just supposed to get along with it like we're still children. She said she would have never consented to our mom leaving us and had no say in them getting back together, so that we should have at least had a say in who he started dating next. Please note, this isn't what I personally feel. Anyways, my dad just stood there looking shocked. Seeing his face made me feel awful. He looked silently at Fiona, and she suddenly burst into tears. This scared me because I've never seen her cry. My dad's rarely weepy, and I even seen him cry more. Dad held her hand and just said, sobbing, I told you. I told you. I felt worse. One nice thing was Chloe got emotional to see this, so she actually went over and gave Fiona a hug. I felt like doing it too, but it was just so weird. My dad hugged Anna and said he was sorry he never realized how she felt. He said it's too late to set him up with anyone. I managed to have Anna add this. If he was going to be with anyone, it would be Fiona. But if this engagement was really hurting her, the two of them would talk about whether it can be postponed. He did say it's a done deal she's moving in this summer, since she already ended her lease and made arrangements. Long story short, he arranged family therapy and Fiona actually suggested it, and said she's willing to participate if it would help. I don't think I need therapy, but I think I'm going to do it just because. Chloe agreed, and Anna hasn't said anything since this happened, but I think that's a sign she's accepted it. Things were okay for the rest of the evening. Thank goodness for no blind date. Dad asked if I was okay and thanked me for doing this also. He said he was so proud of me. I teared up a bit. He and Fiona sat on the porch for the rest of the night with his arm around her. I'm honestly relieved. Things have been calm since. Anna's still quiet, but at least she's not avoiding us or objecting to therapy. The first one starts early July, and he's booked it for just the four of us now. Thank you for all the support, everyone. I'm really hopeful things will get better from now on. I don't really think anyone was the a-hole here. I think what we see is just a family struggling with what's happening in their current situation. I'm glad that they decided at the end of this that maybe therapy is the right decision. There was one comment that caught my attention. It says, as much as I completely understand where Anna's coming from and why she has this built-up resentment from all the unacknowledgement trauma from your mother abandoning you and all coming and going without being consistent. But I can't help but feel bad for Fiona. Yeah, to me, I think Fiona's kind of an innocent bystander in this, and she doesn't deserve all the hatred, but at the same time, like the comment said, I can't blame Anna because she's going through a lot of trauma. What do you guys think of this story? I would love to hear your opinion on this. Drop it down in the comment section and let's talk about it. I read every single comment. That's all the stories I have for you guys today. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, smash that like button and I'll catch you guys tomorrow. Have a wonderful night.